This is FE Peer Review. The date is July the 24th, 2021. Sleeping Warrior claims light doesn't curve. You decide. We'll just take a moment to pause here and then we'll move on. I had this brief interchange with Sleeping Warrior in a comments on a video today. Somebody wrote, I don't know who JQ is, hilarious when Globers come in here, see a horizon, blah, blah, blah. Sleepy Warrior responded, and squawk refraction as if it somehow saves them. Bye-bye geometric horizon. I gave Sleeping Warrior a little answer to that. Just this morning, I put up links to 5 research papers on atmospheric refraction prepared by organizations such as the research arms of the U.S. Navy and the telecommunications industry. I also put up a U.S. Navy training manual. All 6 documents factor atmospheric refraction into their work. Until you or your colleagues demonstrate that you completely understand papers like these, until you actually do real scientific work that refutes these research papers, until your new theories on the behavior of light in the atmosphere are adopted by the world's militaries and telecommunications infrastructure firms, until all that has happened, you're living in a dream, a fantasy. You are making absolutely no difference to the world. You are contributing nothing. Now, granted, I'll say that was not exactly polite, but it wasn't rude. I didn't use any rude words or anything. I think I was just stating the facts. Sometimes the facts aren't nice. Anyhow, Sleeping Warrior responded, light doesn't curve. It deviates from straight. Your opinions have zero credibility. I couldn't help responding. It's just too tempting. It is just too tempting. I probably should have done something else with my evening. Light doesn't curve. It deviates from straight. That's definitely a keeper. Thanks. Have a great day. I went on to go back in and edit that comment and say, I think I'm going to make a video out of this. So here we are, making a video out of it when I should be doing other things. Riley wants to play word games. I'm not interested in word games. I want to understand nature with a capital N. Let's start by looking at this little bit of video here. We are going to see light deviate from a straight line. We have a beam of light coming through here. We're going to put a triangular prism down in place of in the path of the light. And we see a very distinct bend in the beam of light. So light bends. I think we all figured that out sometime in grade school. I should mention in that previous clip that was my voice you heard. I had muted the voice on the original video because I wanted to put my words in there in order to explain what was of interest in the image to me. Moving on, we are now going to see light curve. This is another video favorite of mine. This time you're hearing the other fellow's voice.
So I've got about 6 gallons of water in here, and I'm going to add around about 5 pounds, I think, of sugar.
One thing I didn't take into account was that it was very, very cold in my garage, so it took a really, really long time for the sugar to dissolve, and I ended up moving the fish tank inside.
5 pounds of sugar. So what I ended up doing was removing some of the water and just lowering this curve a little bit, because it was a little bit too much for my needs. But what actually happened was it worked. The water dissolved the sugar, and we get a bending laser beam. Now, it's most obvious if I kind of point this laser beam upwards a bit, and then move the beam down, 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 and you'll see as we get to the bottom here, it bends.
These next few slides are a sneak preview of my next video, which I'm been working on for a couple of weeks and which I meant to put out like 10 days back, and I just haven't been able to get it wrapped up. Anyhow, you're going to be seeing more of this very soon, but it fits in nicely with what we're talking about today. So if the atmosphere were a nice, even, consistent gradient like that bowl of sugar water, then light moving through that atmosphere would move very nearly in a nice curve. Now, does a single beam of light move in a straight line between each droplet of water in the atmosphere. So actually it's not a curve, it's like trillions of straight lines, probably. I'm not going to worry about that. Riley can worry about that. I'm going to call it a curve. It's a curve, Riley. It's a curve. Okay. So if that were the case, if nature cooperated and the atmosphere was a nice, smooth, even gradient, then we would get effects like we see in this photo top here, which is a photo. And once in a while, nature does cooperate. It's a very nice oval. It's got a little bit of a bump right here. But basically, that's quite a nice oval. And that's not our beautiful oval sun. It's our beautiful round sun, which, because it's getting near the horizon, where the atmospheric gradient is steeper, where looking through the atmospheric gradient is a steeper thing for us, we see it get compressed from top to bottom, but retain its side-to-side width, which means that it goes from being a circle to an oval. That's when everything works out nicely and smoothly. However, very often, it's not the case that things work out nicely and smoothly, and the atmosphere doesn't cooperate, and instead we have all kinds of weird layers happening at different places and at different levels in the atmosphere and at different places between the object being observed and the observer. So consequently, light that starts out in one direction encounters a density change, shifts, encounters another density change, shifts again, whereas light coming off the same object but from a different part of the object encounters an entirely different set of density changes, and so we end up with things like our lovely black swan here. Yeah, so Riley, I'm not gonna belabor a point. You said light doesn't curve. I showed the fish tank with a very nice curving light. If you want to call it a trillion straight lines, that's fine. In the atmosphere, under natural conditions, usually, well, sometimes it does, like our oval sun. Often it doesn't. Often it's all over the place. So I'm not going to argue the point with you. It's a big mess. Nature is a big mess. Sorting it all out is really hard, and it's not always clean and neat. I'm going to continue to say light curves. You can say that light moves in a trillion straight lines if that makes you happy. I think that's probably all that needs to be said on the subject this evening. Now maybe I should go off and do the things I should be doing. Remember, hit that like button, tell your friends, and I always welcome comments. Good evening.